Okay, you're gonna need to have a pick or small flathead screwdriver, a T30 Torx socket will work best, a 17 millimeter socket for the lug studs, and a triple square 14. Also, I have this wheel hanger. You can get them on Amazon. It's not necessary, but it makes it easier when putting and taking off the wheel. 13 millimeter wrench or socket and ratchet if you want. A pair of pliers, a 3/8 ratchet, and a 1/2 inch ratchet. Or if you have any guns, electric tools or power tools, you could use that. I got this brake caliper piston compressor, or you can use a big pair of channel locks. And here's a little connector I made to compress the caliper piston. You could use any wires, these little alligator clips right here I've used before. But the one that I have slides right onto the pin, so it makes it easier. Otherwise, you kind of got to fight with it, but anything will work. And then you connect it to a 9-volt battery and compress the piston and you're good. First, we take off the lug bolt covers. I use the little pick for this. You slide the pick in there and then the little plastic caps will pull off. Then we remove all the lugs and take the wheel off. And here's where I use the wheel hanger. So you screw it in once you take one of the lug nuts off. And then when you get them all off, if the wheel falls, it just hangs right on that thing. It's all German cars have them. Even some, there's a couple newer cars with them too. So here we're gonna unplug the electric parking brake connector. You could see it right here. So if you stick the pick down in there or a flathead, you can push the tab down and then it will pull off. But this one had a lot of dirt in it, so it was kind of tough to get off. But press down on the tab just like any other connector and then you can pull it off. And it has 2 pins. Now you're going to connect on the caliper side, not on the side that unplugs. So first we'll pull the caliper off with the 2 13s on the end here. And usually when you loosen them, you'll see the slide pin also spinning on the inside. So if you take a pair, watch right here, and the inner one is spinning, you see that? So if you take a pair of pliers, they even make small wrenches you can fit in there, but the pliers work fine. And just grab onto it. As you spin, then you'll get the bolts loose. So those 2 13 millimeters. Get them off, and then you can pull the caliper out of the way. So there you go. Next, we'll remove the old brake pads. I just usually get a flathead and pop them out. And now we're going to remove the caliper bracket with these triple square sockets. A 14 right here. One on the top, one on the bottom. There's 2 of them. They're on there kind of tight, but you'll get it. Pull them off, and then the whole bracket comes off once you get both of the bolts off. So set that aside, and now we get our small 30 Torx bit for this bolt here. Just apply a lot of pressure to it when you're removing that, because those tend to strip easily. You can end up getting them off with a hammer and a chisel if they get stripped too bad, but save yourself the trouble and just apply a lot of pressure. Put the caliper bracket back on, tighten the 2 caliper bracket bolts. And then I like to spray everything down with brake cleaner before I start putting it together, just to get all the dust and whatever stuff is stuck in there. The pads, some people lube the whole back of the pad. All you really need to do is just lube this ear right here, because that's the only part that moves and will make any noise. This purple brake lube works good. Comes in a little tub, but just get it right around the corners and right over that ear and you'll be good. And install the brake pads. There you go. Now we got our 9-volt and our little homemade harness, and you just connect the wires to those 2 little terminals in there. You can do it with those alligator clips or something smaller. And now you apply pressure to the piston. See how the pistons has to go up into the caliper. So I just did a little bit of pressure to make sure it was going the right way. If you hook up the battery the opposite way, one way will push the caliper out and one will push it in. So you're not going to damage anything doing it backwards. It's just either going to go in or out. You'll have to switch it and go the other way. So connect it, and then I could press the caliper in. Now it's in all the way. So we're good. And now we're going to slide the caliper on, and then get those 2 13mm bolts, screw those back in, and tighten them down. And don't forget to plug this park and brake plug back in, because it's very easy to forget, and then you got to take the whole wheel off or reach under there and plug it back in. Then all you have to do is put the wheel back on and you're done.